Hey everybody, John here from IncomeMesh.com, and in this video we're going to continue with our landing page builder comparison post where we take the best of today's landing page building softwares and companies and put them head to head and help you decide what is the right product for you to use. And in today's video we're going to deep dive into Elegant Themes, which is the popular company that creates Divi, the visual builder in WordPress, and we'll go ahead and put it through its paces. And I'll go ahead and tell you, this is a great company. It's one to watch. As you can see here from their website, they power over 500,000 customers. That is a huge number. And as we look down at their pricing and some of the features they can do and the output of this video with a kind of a very beautiful website, you can very easily understand why they power so many websites. So let's go ahead and just give you a brief overview of their website here. And you can see these are some of the really important parts of Divi, which makes it different from Thrive and different from some of the other builders that have additional regulations or kind of limits on your usage. So the first one is that when you buy a membership to Elegant Themes, you get everything they offer. It's not like you just buy the page builder, then you need to go buy other plugins later. Thrive allows you to do a la carte, kind of pick one thing at a time, but here you get everything, which includes multiple themes, 87 themes, although in reality there's only, I think, 2 that are the go-tos for Divi, or for Elegant Themes to use. You also get 3 plugins, and each one of them are decent plugins. One is obviously the builder, which we're going to review today, but they also have a lead generation plugin and a social media marketing plugin. Both are very good add-ons as well. Here is the big one, and this is huge. And if you've seen my Breezy review, you'll know this is one of the reasons why I purchased a lifetime access to Breezy before they've even publicly released, is because it's an unlimited use agency lifetime, agency membership. That's what I meant by that. And so that means that you buy it once and you can create hundreds of websites. You can create it for yourself or for your clients and everything like that. A huge value instead of having to pay for additional licenses for every client that you sign on. The next one here is simple pricing. They give you an annual pricing or lifetime pricing. And it's 2 price points. It's great. It's easy. It's understandable. We are lifetime owners of Divi as well, just for full transparency. And products you can trust. I agree with this. Elegant Themes has shown over and over again to keep up with the competition. This page builder has been around for years, but they've kept up, and they do a lot of really cool and innovative things, which we'll see in this video. Let's kind of scroll through this, and you can see if we go to sign up today, like I said, you've got 2 options here per year or lifetime access. You have a risk-free guarantee, which is 30 days. I would personally recommend, if you wanted to give this one a shot after watching this video, go for the lifetime access. You figure that's what, 3 years or so of payment. And yeah, I guess you're making a gamble, but this company has shown that they're around for the long haul. They're keeping up with the latest updates. And just looking at this website, this is a beautiful website. So I would go for this. You have 30 days to try it, and you can always refund it or downgrade down to yearly if you have some other concerns. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the meat of this review. So the way this review is going to go is I've created a brand new WordPress website. Nothing's installed on it, no plugins, no nothing. We're going to go ahead and install Divi, the Divi theme and the Divi page builder, and we'll go ahead and create some pages together. I'll walk you through my experience with it, some past experiences I've had with it, just as a heads up. My wife currently runs her entire website, actually multiple websites, using the Divi theme and Divi page builder. She also uses some of the other themes from Divi. Sorry, I keep using Divi and Elegant Themes interchangeably, but she uses some of the other themes from Elegant Themes, namely the extra theme as well. So we have a lot of experience with this. This is not one of those first impression reviews because I know a lot about Divi. We've actually helped make a course to help people learn more about Divi as well. So this is a bit more in-depth of a review than we've done in some of the other ones. But needless to say, I'll give you the pros, the cons, what's good, bad, and ugly, and help make you a recommendation on if this is the right page builder for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Okay, so once you've purchased the membership, you'll have access to the members area, and you'll be able to see in here what you get with your membership. You get the Divi theme and page builder. You get the extra theme and page builder. You get just a plugin. So if you want to use a different theme like Astra or Thrive themes, you can still use the Divi page builder if you'd like to with its own standalone plugin. You also have the Bloom and Monarch, and these are the 2 other ones. This is your lead generation or opt-in form. plugin, and you've got your social media, which gives you some buttons and some share counts and some of those other little fun widgets there. You can also see they have a bunch of other things, but this is what they focus on. This is what I'd recommend you work with. So I've already downloaded the Divi theme here, and we're going to go to my brand new site. As you can see here, this is just Divi review site on my local machine. It's got no information, no nothing. We're going to go ahead and try to make a beautiful website here. So let's go ahead and go into our dashboard, and we'll go to themes. And we're going to add a new theme, and we'll upload our theme, and I will find where I saved this guy here. So I've got my Divi zip. I'll just go ahead and put it there and choose file and say install now. Okay, so it's installed here. It's unpacked and all the good things. We can do a quick live preview to see what our new website is going to look like before we commit to it. So as we dive in, we see still nothing there, but now it's changed over to the Divi theme, which has a search button and just a clean look to it overall. So let's go ahead and activate and publish this theme. And this video is not going to be a deep dive on the theme itself. I'll do a quick little walkthrough of the theme options you get, because it is something you need to take into consideration when making your purchasing decision. But the main goal here is to show you how to build pages, for funnels, for sales funnels, for opt-in forms, for things like that. So here we go. We've published the theme. Let's go ahead and click X. And now let's just review our site once again. So here we go. We have an empty post. We've got a whole lot of nothing here. So let's go ahead and dive into it by creating a new page. So immediately what you'll notice is this big purple button that says use the Divi Builder. That is the indicator that you have the Divi page builder installed. So let's go ahead and create a new Divi page. And when you do this, just something to be aware of is you want to pay attention to what page layout you have. I'll go for a no sidebar. I want this to be like a nice looking landing page. And under template, you can either do a blank template, which will retain. Let's just show you what that looks like. That'll have your header and your footer and all that navigation stuff there. If we went back and decided we wanted to do a blank page template, this would be great for landing pages because it literally just loads a blank page. All right, so that's the basics of the page templates and layouts. Let's go ahead and go into our Divi Builder by clicking on this purple button. And there's a couple ways you can use this. This was the kind of legacy way of using Divi, and I believe that Elegant Themes is working on removing this and going all into the Visual Builder. So we won't spend a whole lot of time on this, but this kind of gives you the idea of the back-end editor. Let's use the Visual Builder instead by clicking on the blue button. And this will load up probably our tutorial here. So it kind of walks you through. It's a pretty good tutorial. We'll go ahead and start building though. And here you've got three options. This is very similar to Landingy as well as Thrive. Pretty much they all kind of follow the same idea of build from scratch or choose a pre-made layout. Let's go ahead and browse the layouts. This is definitely a strong suit for Divi. Because you look here, you've got 632 total layouts, but they're within 84 layout packs. So instead of just offering you a funnel or like a landing page and a thank you page, Divi goes a different route. And this is why I think that Divi is really meant for a different audience, a different crowd. These are more web designers. They want to build beautiful websites, maybe not necessarily so much funnels. Because if we look at one of these, let's go to restaurant, for example. What the pages they give you, it's not like a webinar registration page and then a webinar confirmation page and a thank you page, for example. It's the about page of the restaurant, the blog page of the restaurant. So you can see this is really set up for building small businesses or personal brands, building entire web pages, websites with blogs and reels, and even e-commerce shops like a WooCommerce shop and things like that. So definitely a different strategy here from some of the other builders on this review. Let's go to, for example, a copywriter. So this might be something where it'd be a bit more like a funnel where you want to work with this copywriter. Maybe there's a freebie and opt-in, but you look at the layouts in the pack, there's 9 pages, of the total 600 something that they had, but it's the contact page, the FAQ page, the home page, the landing page, etc. So let's go ahead and use this layout by clicking the green button. And now because this is a brand new install, I'm going to go ahead and put in my key, my credentials. So pause the video real quick. Okay, so put the credentials in and hit go, and it very quickly loaded up this entire page. And you can see here just how beautiful. This is more than just a funnel builder. This is a full-blown website content management system builder. So beautiful page. We can see here the way this works is as you hover around, you get access into the different modules of the page. But if you're off to the side, you see kind of the full beauty, like it should be on an actual live website, which is very nice. You've got navigation buttons down here where you can change how you see things. So for example, if I click here on the wireframe view, you kind of get the idea of the structure of the page. You've got a section, you've got a row, and you've got a module. And that is the structure of Divi. How they work is in this blue is the upmost level, so that's the section. Then within that, you've got two rows of section title and client's logo area. And then within each one of these, you've got a set of modules, a title and a divider. And here you've got a 4-column image setup. So let's go ahead and find that section on the actual page. So pricing, here we go. So this was the example of the section and then the 4-column layout here. If we go into this, what you can see here is Divi is built off of modules, kind of similar to like the blocks or that everybody has their own different terminology for it. But I like this view here where you can see it's an image setting module. You can decide what image you show. You can add a link to the image. So everything is very much menu driven. You can click and drag things around, but when it comes to adding margin and padding and doing other things, Divi does all that through a sidebar menu. One thing that's amazing is if you're a new builder, you might not know where all the settings are within the menu, and even when Divi does updates, they might change some things around or move some things around. What's beautiful about Divi is that it gives you the ability to search for, let's say I want to add less padding between these rows here. I can go into search for pad, custom padding, and I can link left and right together, and I can increase or decrease the padding. And this is actually increasing the padding between the module and the row itself. So it's not exactly what I was just saying. But you can see how things work really nice intuitively. You even have the option to change what things are on mobile, the padding on mobile versus desktop, the hover action. So I can actually change padding. Let's try give this a try. So let's say we want to make it smaller when we hover on it for some reason. So now we've added some hover padding. So let's go ahead and preview how this looks. And publish it. Okay, so we've published the page. I'm going to hit the X and exit Visual Builder. And so now here we're on the page itself. As we scroll down, you can see everything looks normal here, but as I hover on it, it actually does some movement based on the padding that I set up in the Visual Builder. And kind of like you can edit the page from any page once you're logged into WordPress, you can also go straight into the Visual Builder here. And things just work nice and fluidly. So a couple things I want to highlight about the Divi Builder, which I really, really do like, is things like section padding. It's extremely easy to use. You can click and drag on the actual area you want to add padding to, and that works on both the blue sections and the green rows. So you can add another row, let's say. We want to add a row down here. We want to add a bunch of small icons. Let's do a 4-column, and we'll go into, let's do a blurb. And blurbs, you can add some text to it, or you can just go straight to the image and say we want to use an icon. And now you're presented this list of a ton of different icons. Here's a downside of Divi is that unlike most other page builders, they don't allow you to search for the icon you're looking for. Like if I want to find a gear, I literally have to take this very small scroll wheel and find the gear that I'm looking for. And boom, there we go. So I found it. So it's a small gripe. I mean, eventually you start to get used to where things are in here, but I mean, this is a very small menu box to find all these icons. And also, to my knowledge, there's no native way to add additional icons into Divi. So if you do like to go nuts with yours and upload your own, you'd have to do it as an image file, which is not ideal for a bunch of technical reasons. Once you're here, though, you can also click here and say Go Gears, and add some content. You'll notice as I was typing through, the toolbar actually overrode the text I was using. You'll kind of get used to it, but you have to play some games with Divi sometimes to make sure things look exactly like you want them to. A couple things that are super nice about this is the right-click actions are extremely, extremely good. You can copy this entire module and then just go to this area, and right click and paste the module. But even cooler than that is I can, once it's copied, I can actually go here, and I think I can hit Control V, and it'll paste exactly where my mouse is. So, I mean, I'm just hitting Control V like I'm on a natural computer, and that's pretty awesome. That's a really great feature. Let me show you a couple other things I really like about Divi. So let's go ahead and on these modules, let's show some of the newer features that have just come out. And what we'll do is let's change the formatting of this by going into my settings. I want go to my design and my text to all be center aligned, so you can see it center aligned all the text as well as the image here, which looks great. And let's say I also want to add a background color of this module. So go into background, and I'll add a background color, and let's just say a nice little thing like that. You know, I'm gonna make this look like a button and hopefully have it really act like a button. First, we'll add some background color, but you can see now the padding here isn't very nice. So now let's go into the design, or let me just show you this. Let me show padding again. So just by typing pad, I've got padding, and let's add some top and bottom padding and just see what looks about right. That looks about right. And then some left and right padding. So far that looks good, but I want to add just 5 pixels of padding just to make sure that as I type more, when I type more, I want to see padding. So before I added that padding, it was right up on the edge. I can add this padding though, and it'll create a bit more like a button feel. I also want to round these corners and make it look a little bit more modern. So let's just go and type in corner, and boom. I mean, this is pretty intuitive. This does win out versus Thrive when it comes to finding the settings you want. You're digging through some menus with Thrive to get what you want. You can link your settings, and I love this little scroll wheel because I'm not looking at how many pixels of rounding I have. I'm looking at the image as I'm working on it, and I'm just going to stop when I find what I want. Obviously, this is too much padding for me, but you could do that. Let's go to like a nice, that looks good. So we're really just going to design this the way we like it, and then what I'll show you is how you can use some efficiency tools with Divi to build this out very quickly across the board. So let's also add some shadow. I want to add a drop shadow. So you've got anything that starts with shadow. You've got your text shadow, your title shadow, your body shadow, and your box shadow. Boom. So I want to add I want the light to come from here across the board. So I'll just click that guy, and now I've got great shadow, which is pretty great. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a look here. What else do we want to have happen? I think I want to make something really fancy. When I hover over this, I want to invert these colors, and I want the gear to turn this color, and I want the background to turn into the color of the gear. So let's show you how to do that. And this is advanced stuff. So this is not like a basic review. I'm showing you, after really learning how to use this tool, some of the best things that I like about it. And you know what, as I think about it, I think I accidentally added some shadow to the text. So let me show you how to quickly see what's going on with your text. As I go back into my settings. So as I hover over the area, you can see this little paintbrush. If I click that paintbrush, it'll show up all the settings for whatever area I just selected. So here I'm looking at the body text, and I want to see body text shadow. Shouldn't have any shadow here. Okay, maybe I think my eyes are just playing tricks on me. So I'll go ahead and look past that, because to me this text looks different from that text. It looks like this has a slight shadow, but from the settings it tells me it's not. So let's go ahead and do some hover actions here. So let's go back to our content. Let's go to our background, and let's boom. Like it's intuitive once you know what you're doing, but like there's a lot of context going on here. So what I want to do is click on the icon. So now I'm looking for my hover background color, and when I hover it, I want to select the blue color here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Chrome extension called Page Color Picker and get the actual hex code color here and paste that guy in here. So now I've got the right color for the background on hover. Okay. And then it's going to pop up some help along the way, which is nice. Thank you. So now let's go back and do the exact opposite by going in here, and then on my icon color, I'll go to Design, Image and Icon Color. I can actually click on Recents. And so here, not only do you have a color palette you can pick, You can even see the recent colors you've used because and I want this to be the hover action. I want to change the color to this. So now let's go ahead and just preview what this looks like and see if we like it by exiting the Visual Builder, saving and exiting. And as we go down, you can see it's set up the way I want. As I hover over it, boom. I'd probably want to change this text as well to that same color, so let's do that real quickly, and then I'll show you a few efficiency things. Go to Settings, and I'm going to go ahead and just type on text. And you see text color, I'll just go to light. And let me, again, the hover action for text is light, but the non-hover action is dark. So you can hear, okay, so this is even easier. You can decide, you can look at it and preview it as you're going, which is really great. So now let me, that was probably a good 4 or 5 minutes of creating settings here. I don't want to have to do that for all the others. So what you can do, you get 2 options here. One is to right click and say copy module styles, and then go over to the next one and paste module styles. And now you've created the exact same settings are these 2 modules. Even better is, let's say you've got blurbs throughout the page. You can extend this blurb's styles, and you've got some options here. Do you want to extend them throughout the entire page, throughout this entire section, which is the blue piece, the row, which is the green piece, or the column, which is this set that's part of that row? So let's say for this column, let's go ahead and extend. And I'm sorry, the column was this piece. So what I meant to do was extend blurb styles through this row, not the column. There you go. So now you've got these guys set up the same way, but I think if I look down, I've got blurbs that are, I do not. I thought I had blurbs I could show you going through the entire page, but you can get the idea here. Now I can just go in and maybe change this from a gear to a up arrow, change this one to a, just making some stuff up at this point. So pretty cool stuff, right? I really do like that about Divi. Let me show you a couple other things because I spent a lot of time on that. So one thing I love about Divi, and this is a relatively new feature, is their fancy dividers. So if I look at the sections of this 2 section here, you know, the straight line is great, but it's kind of antiquated. I want to go ahead and add some design to it. So I'll go to dividers, and you've got a top divider and a bottom divider for these different sections. I want to, and it gives you a nice visual of what it's going to look like. Okay, that's a nice little divider between those. You can also do some gradients that work with the background colors here. I like that, it looks pretty nice. You can also flip that from, you can see here it's kind of flipping it on across the up and down axis or up and left and right axis. Pretty nice. Just give you a quick preview of some of these little clouds. Looks great. So very easy to build, very easy to work with. What are some downsides of Divi? One downside is, while this is very front-end-ish, it's not exactly a front-end editor. And what that means is if you bring in some short codes, or if you bring in mainly short codes, but if you embed some HTML from an external site, it may not look exactly right on the preview mode as you're building, but then when you exit Visual Builder, it's going to look just fine. Let me see if I can come up with an example of that for you real quick. For example, if you create an opt-in form on ConvertKit or MailerLite or any of the tools you choose to use, when you embed that form in, it may not look quite right. What I've found in my experience is the colors might be a little bit different than the color palette you actually selected, and you might freak out and say, what's going on here? But as soon as you exit the Visual Builder and you go back to preview the actual page, it'll look just fine. It's just kind of a weird thing you get used to, and you know what to freak out about and what not to. Another thing that's I wish to be a little bit more flexible is the buttons within Divi Builder. If I go into this button and I look at the options, the only option I really have to do by default is to link to a URL and same or next window. What I like about Thrive is within a button you can pop up a lightbox and build out an entire lightbox within Thrive leads and have that go and display and do all the flexibility you get there. You don't get the same level of flexibility here. I think I have seen some people do some workarounds, but it's just something that would be great if it was built in directly to the builder itself. So let's go ahead and actually walk through the modules you have by default with the Divi Builder, and we'll do that by just, let's create a new section, and let's do a regular section and 2 columns. So here you get the option of modules, and like anything else, you can search for it. So if you want to put a button in, you can type button, etc., etc. So let's add, well, let's just go through them first. You got accordions, audio, a ton of different options here. I haven't seen them add any new ones recently. They have added integration for WooCommerce and done a lot of work recently with the WooCommerce integration, which is great. But overall, I mean, you get what you get, which is a good listing of tools. It doesn't have like social media buttons like the click to tweet that Thrive does. You can add that by adding in some short codes. But again, then it's just going to be a little bit funny when you're building it out. So let's add a person. Let's just see what the person image is. So this is very similar to a blurb where you've got an icon, because all that really is an icon of an image of a person. So we can go in here and see what the default images are. Let's add this lady in, and it gives you the ability to select the size, which I appreciate. Upload that. Let's find out where we were. Okay. So it looks like you can't crop or do any like image editing within the builder itself, which would be nice, but not a lot of builders offer that ability. And then everything else is very similar to the blurb. So some of the modules are similar to other modules, which is not a problem. It's just you have to know what to use and when. Let's look at some of the bar counters. This is a nice one. It's nicely styled, nicely imaged. So we can do title goes here. We just click and type. Bar 1. You can look at the individual elements and add multiple bars. And you can see you're actually creating like a nest of options where within this module, I've got the settings for bar 1. So I can go into this guy and give it a setting of how full I want it to be. So let's say this is 10%. And I want to change the background color. And look at this. So this is one of the great features. You can go through and hit the ... and it'll give you a whole color wheel that kind of generate the colors for you based on what you already have on your page, which is pretty smart. Go back here, title number 2. So 2. Let's put this at 45. Design, bar counter. Again, let's go with this guy. And you can see these colors work nicely together because the color palette, that's how it's really designed. And the last one, title number 3, complete. 99%, design. So pretty cool. And when we exit the Visual Builder and save our changes, so we scroll down, you'll see everything has like a nice little built-in animation. And oh, look at this. So for some reason, we're going to dig into this. When I copied and pasted the modules, it did the hover action as well, but it didn't adjust the hover action on these other two when we did the extend styles. That might be a bug right now because I would expect it to extend all the styles, including default and hover states. But that's a little interesting. You can see a nice animation here. So that's great. Let's spend one more second and just take a look here at these modules here. If I look at my options and I go into the background color, because that was not working correctly. If I do background and I look at hover, okay, so it did not copy over. I guess I would have needed to, let me try this here. Let's take this guy and copy module styles and paste module styles. And now look at the settings and go into our background settings. Okay, I'm a little perplexed here, I'll be honest with you. I'm good at Divi. Surprised that didn't go the way I wanted it to from the get-go. But you can see here, when you have this amount of power and this amount of flexibility, they're trying their best to make it intuitive, which I think they've done a great job with. A couple of things I want to identify is when you go through, you can actually hold down the control button and start clicking items. And as you can see, I've just selected all 4 of these icons quickly, and I can either move them around, or I can move them into this module. And interesting, because I took from a 4-column layout to a single column layout, it automatically resizes everything, makes everything look really, really good, even though this is a 4-column or a single column row. So what I could also do is move this entire row and bring this row down to maybe here. And then I could select these guys again, or I could I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to shift and hold, just shift. And you see by shift and clicking, I clicked everything that was in a line from the first click to the final click. And I can drag this over and move them into the correct columns. So a lot of really nice navigation, controls, very intuitive builder. Let's show one final thing before we wrap this one up because we're going a little bit long on time. I want to show you an advanced feature of split testing. So what I'm going to do is right click on this entire section and I'm going to say split test. So when you're doing split testing, everything needs to have a goal. You don't just test, you test to achieve a certain objective. And the way that Divi does this is say, tell me what your goal is. Your goal could be for them to click a button. Your goal could be for them to fill out a form by clicking this button. We'll just go ahead and say the goal is to have the people click this button. The most common one probably is to use an email opt-in form and have that connect in and use that as the goal to get actual email subscribers. But for the sake of this demonstration, we'll just go ahead and click that button. So now we get to do variations of the thing that we're testing. So we have a goal. We want to have people click this button. What do we want to change in order to see if it's working effectively or not? So here, we're changing our section, our entire section. And the way this works is you now have multiple variations of the section. So I can, let's say we want to change this headline and to try to get people to click the button better. So we'll go through and change this headline. You can see how it's a little frustrating when it covers up the text you're trying to work on. There we go. All right, get my free cheat sheet of Divi design tips by signing up below, and we'll just have that button there. So now if we hover back over to the section, you can see we have these two variations, and we could add another variation as well, but we'll go ahead and be happy with this. So we'll click on the chart icon, and you can see here that we don't have any statistics yet because we haven't run this guy yet. So let's go ahead and look at this in a couple different browsers and see if we can see the split test working. So first, we'll go ahead and exit the Visual Builder, save and exit. And now as we scroll down, we're going to look for, we got the standard for all our inquiries. We got that text here. Let's go ahead and take this URL, go incognito, scroll down, and boom. So now we already got the second option here, get my free cheat sheet by signing up below. So split testing is super simple. That was probably 30 seconds to set up and change that headline. Let's talk about the downsides of split testing here with Divi. So while it's extremely intuitive, if you want to test a headline against another headline, it comes a little short if you want to do anything more significant. Let's say you wanted to split test a video sales letter versus a long form text-based sales letter to try to sell a product. Well, unfortunately, you're limited in how much you can split test with Divi. The current limit is at the section level. So the big blue section that has rows and modules within it, that's the most you can change. You can only change one for every split test. So what you can do with this is you can maybe swap out some images that are within that section. You can swap out the text and the tagline. You can swap out a button color, do some smaller things like that. But if you want to try totally separate variations or an entire redesign of a web page, you're not going to have the power to do that like you can with some previous reviews, like with Landingi and Thrive Architect and Kartra. They allow you to build entire pages from scratch and redirect people to one page or the other based on what your split test design is. So that's one negative around Divi when it comes to their split testing function. But as you can see here, this tool isn't really designed so much to be for digital marketers to be funnel optimizers and things of that nature. This is to build beautiful websites. And I have to say, it makes it very easy and fun to do exactly that. So let's talk about another downside. And this is one that if you look for negative reviews about Divi, you're going to hear this a lot. I just have to be honest, and it bothers me as well. And that is around how short codes are everything for Divi. And what that means is if you ever decide you want to move from Divi to Elementor, for example, which is some other page builder, you're going to have a hard time. And let me show you how that looks. So if we go into our dashboard, let's deactivate. Oh, you know what? Well, we actually have the Divi theme installed here. So let's change our theme. Go back to a different theme and activate. Okay, so, and let's go back to our web page we just built. So, ta-da! This isn't very good. So you can see everything that you're working on the Visual Builder is just configuring a bunch of very intricate shortcodes. So your website is not broken, but for all intents and purposes, it's broken. If you compare that to some other builders, some styling may get lost if you deactivate the builder, but all the text is still there. If they have multiple columns, oftentimes the column settings will still be retained because all that can be controlled natively with CSS and other code versions. But you see this here, there's no coming back from this. So if you like Divi and you if it just works for you, it speaks to you, go for it. Just know when you get in bed with Divi, for that website at least, you're not switching off. And I know we have some websites that are built on Divi that we've built out over the course of multiple years. There's no way we're changing it. If Divi does something terrible, we have to start a new website because it would just be way too much time to go through and try to recoup this and get this off of the Visual Builder. Now, that's probably not a negative for everybody. I mean, I'm the minority of people who want to go and look at all the different tools and beat them apart and see which one's best right now. And I'm willing to go through some pain if I think it's worth it to make the shift. Once you've selected, especially if you bought the lifetime deal, just go ahead and use Divi. It'll do what you need it to do. It works nicely with membership plugins. There's an entire secondary marketplace for Divi where you can get additional modules added onto your canvas. You can get other functionalities and extensions and even Divi built themes. So Divi is a very vibrant marketplace in itself, as you can tell from the 500,000 plus people that are working with it. So that was my kind of quick review. It got a little detailed as I was playing with blurbs and having fun times with you guys here on the video. But I like Divi. If it wasn't for Thrive and its constant focus on conversion optimization, I would probably be using Divi myself. When it comes to the actual building experience, I enjoy using Divi more. Thrive, I can kind of get like that little crick in my neck when I'm working on it because it's just not quite working with me the way I want it to, and it can be a little frustration. I don't really have that issue with Divi. Divi just kind of does what I want it to do. If I decide to change the colors on the entire page, I can do that quickly by extending the color across sections or copying and pasting styles all day long. So a ton of nice efficiency gains with Divi that you don't get with other builders, but it's one to make a beautiful website. It is a bit more challenging to make sure you're building a conversion optimized website. So that's just kind of the different walks of life. My wife, for example, she loves Divi. I'm an engineer. She likes to make things look pretty and the design, and she likes the functionality. It works with her brain. Me, I want data and statistics more than I want my hover actions to look that pretty. So just different walks of life. If you enjoyed this video and want to sign up for Divi as well, go ahead and click on the link in the description below, or click over to my ultimate review where you can see Divi being put up against all the other major landing page builders in 2018 and beyond. And if you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I release more videos. And as always, I'm John from IncomeMesh.com, helping you find the perfect tool for your next project. I'll see you guys in the next video.